I don't know. You probably early. Might go out there and take Chris. He's going to. Oh wow. He didn't do it. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, bro. How the heck you supposed to beat this cat? Man, he said.
I was hired to dig a giant hole once. I eventually asked, like, what are we looking for? And the demeanor changed a bit on the crew when I asked that question. And I was told, we don't know. But if we find anything strange, we're going to hand it off to the guy who's actually running this. So every time we found something, we pulled out and instantly everyone faces away. When we first found it from the first few things, that's when it really started kicking in, like, why are we doing it this way? And it was no every time. And it was just, all right, back to work. And then one day, we found what they were looking for. I was hiding. I eventually asked, like, what are we looking for? There's a hole in this property. Right now, and he doesn't get where this hole is. He talks about how one of his neighbors, his dog, through the dog. The next day, he sees his dog running. His color, running around. It's like he acts like he doesn't know him. Like the hole is doing, and Mel starts to get kind of upset. It's by some to dig a giant hole in the woods. I was hired to dig a giant hole in the woods. I eventually asked, like, what are we looking for? And the demeanor changed a bit on the crew when I asked that question. And I was told, we don't know. But if we find anything strange, we're going to hand it off to the guy who's actually running this. So every time we found something, and instantly everyone faces away. First found it from the first few things, that's when it really started kicking. That's like, what are we looking for? And I was hired to dig a giant hole in the woods.
Staying safe from walking. A crew in dusty field gear is packed shoulder to shoulder at the mouth of the open, cameras rolling as thick steel having fixed cords around their legs, turning this entry.
Demeanor changed a bit on the crew when I asked that question, and I was told, we don't know. But if we find anything strange, we're going to hand it off to the guy who's actually running this. But every time we found something, we would pull down the hole, and the hole was instantly everyone faces away. When we first found it from the first few things, that's when it really started kicking in, like, why are we doing it this way? And it was no every time. And it was just, all right, back to work. And then one day, we found what they were looking for. I was hired to dig a giant hole.
Rick Grimes.
Are you noticing your car insurance rate creep up even without tickets or claims? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry handles the legwork by comparing quotes side by side from over 50 top insurers, so you can confidently hit buy. No spam calls, no hidden fees.
but every time we found something, we would pull it out of the hole, and the rule was instantly everyone faces away. And so it was like, first few things, that's when it really started kicking in, like, why are we doing it this way?
Why do your car insurance rate upfront payment of
Same, young bucks got it, young kids got it. Like, he's doing, he's kicking ass up there, and they were making fun of the older guys, like, that young kid's kicking your ass. And I'm like, hell yeah. And it was a couple of days into that, and then I eventually asked, like, okay, we pulled a bunch of material out here. What are we looking for? And the demeanor changed a bit on the crew when I asked that question. And I was told, we don't know. But if we find anything strange, get it out of the hole as fast as possible. And then we're going to hand it off to the guy who's actually running this. His name was Joseph. And he is who was paying us. And Joseph wore a suit every day. Leather shoes, like flat-soled leather shoes, a nice suit. He was an older guy, yes, he was in the 50s. And he had a guy with him. He was dressed in very blue color, flannel, jeans, boots. And he was a geologist. All I know is that he was in the Navy, but every time we found something, we would pull it out of the hole, and the rule was instantly everyone faces away. And so it was like, when we first found the first few things, that's when it really started kicking in, like, why are we doing it this way? So we'd face the opposite direction, and they would pass those rocks off to Koki, and he would split those rocks, and he'd give the yay or the nay, yes or no. And it was no every time. And it was just, all right, back to work. No explanation, nothing. And people were getting aggravated by me asking that question. And honestly, like, I'm a super curious guy. Like, I'm working my ass off out here. Like, we're obviously looking for something. So I wanted to know. But that answer, like, I never got that answer. And it was just kind of like, well, if you find something, bring it out of the hole, let us see it, you guys face it, we'll crack it, we'll let you know. And I said, okay. And that happened. It happened a few times in the beginning, but it really started to happen at the end. But yeah, boulders out. Most of them were about basketball sized, some to like medicine ball size. So they were hard to get out of there. We were taking death. I mean, we were chugging forward to get deep. So every time we got to the point where I would hear the hole go up, hey, we got something. And they would let me know whether or not it could fit the bucket. If it could fit the bucket, like, young kids getting it out. And it got to the point where guys were putting boulders on their shoulders and climbing up multiple ladders and then climbing a chain on top of a boulder just to get out of the hole. But Joseph, yeah, he kept everything secretive, didn't speak a lot, had a caring, older guy voice to him. Out of all people, he should live one. And he did. He was a nice guy, but he was very stressed the entire time. You could tell that he had a task on his shoulders, and that he had to, one way or another, get this done. And he was oblivious. One of the reasons why I became kind of an asset on my crew is because of my background in trailing. I had spent a long time out in the woods not being able to use power tools. And there are laws when you start doing work that you use crosscut saws and the old school saws with off the trees. And we did stuff like that. Well, I spoke up one day because I kept looking at that boulder. I pulled dirt out of the hole, set the bucket back down, and I had to put it down, kind of sit and look around. And I would stare at that boulder because I could tell by looking at it they had gone down in depth, hit the boulder at the very beginning of the process, and then they had shifted the hole and then gone down from there. So I kept thinking, like, why? Why would you shift? Finally, I spoke up. I'm like, why did you split the rock? And they're like, we can't. What do you mean you can't split it? They're like, well, we tried to jackhammer it. I'm like, that's not going to work. And so it gets quiet. They're like, why? And I'm like, because you have to put a hole in it and split it from the inside. And so they're like, okay, like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, leaves and feathers. Leaves and feathers are the really, really old way of splitting boulders. And it's these like upside down L-shaped rods. And so you put one in a hole this way, one in a hole this way, and then you would drive a spike through the center, which would create that tension. With enough holes across it, you would crack from hole to hole to hole and split the boulder. And it's not easy work, but it's not exactly rocket science either. So I was kind of looking at these guys that have been out here for a while, like, split. And so Joseph had pulled me aside. He's like, if we run into any positions and you have a solution, I need you to speak up. And I'm like, okay. And when I would, he would just literally pull his credit card out and hold it in his hand, like, let's go back to town. And he'd walk down the trail holding this card in his hand. And I got to the point where I was taking my truck up there, and he'd hop in my truck with my dirty, beat-up old Chevrolet in his nice suit, and we'd go to town, and we'd hit one of the hardware stores or something like that, and he would just stand behind me holding this card. And me at 19 years old, I'm like, we need this, we need this, we need this. And he would just wait for his moment, slide that card, and he'd be like, whatever the kid says. You know, they were that desperate. They didn't know how to get what they were looking for, but they absolutely had to get whatever it was.
Wow. Did all of this secrecy and high pressure on Joseph make you feel nervous? Like, what did you think about all this?
Growing up the way I did, legal was rare. Grew up in the middle of nowhere in small towns, and Australia has a lot of secluded places as well. You kind of do your own thing, and so having a little bit of elasticity when it comes to legality of things, like I was like, it didn't stress me out at the time. I just didn't like they wouldn't fill me in, and having worked on crews that had crew leads, crew bosses, stuff like that, like I knew there was a hierarchy of things, and that was absolutely fine. But to avoid the conversation constantly, that's the first thing that was putting a red flag in my mind. It was kind of sending me out the alarm bells off.
Yeah. Be worried that with all this secrecy around, if you did find something that they were looking for, what were they going to do with all the witnesses?
That didn't cross my mind until about the last 2 weeks, and I wasn't the only one. The older guys were the first ones to kind of speak up on it, because people started bringing guns with them. The guys that I found out lived in that area were actually hiking up in the mornings beforehand and stashing guns in the woods. And I remember, it does definitely feel a little weird. It's gone on long enough, the secrecy, and something's definitely not right. But is it that bad? And one of the older guys turns to me and he's like, what happens when we fight? And I'm like, well, we give it to them. And it's like, look what we've gone through. They won't tell us anything. You think that's just going to end the moment we find what they're looking for? And I remember, thinking about it as I'm walking, and then it just clicked. I mean, things flash with cold water. And it's, what if they kick us in the fucking hole? I thought about it too. I was like, all of us out here, there's no problem with us overwhelming these two. They're two older guys, obviously are not, cut from the cloth that we are from being raised in places like this. So that's what was in my head. It's like, we have numbers, we have numbers. So you tried it. And then once it kicked in that all of us would be facing the hole when those shouts came up, and when those guys were trying to get whatever it was out, we would all be facing the hole, getting ready to take rocks, do you need help? Constantly communicating back and forth, we'd be facing the hole. And I don't care how old you are, if you put a boot in my back when I'm on the edge of a 63-foot hole, that's it. I'm not going to be able to turn around and grab the ledge. This isn't the movies. You're taking a header and you're not coming out. So once that conversation happened, and I had that moment, that's when everything became extremely real, funny. It wasn't, this immense adventure and curiosity kind of. That instantly went. And then it was kind of like no one knows I'm here. These guys who I actually don't know. I can say I do. At the time I knew their names, but I don't know these guys. And more than half of them seemed like they had done some time. A couple of them visually had the look of drug use, bad drug use. All of them were drunks. And from being raised around people like that, if you don't know them, those people can write you off like that. If it's you over them. And so then you start thinking, if something happens to me, these guys are scattering. They're not going to the cops. And so I kind of realized I am on my own. Now this crew thing doesn't matter. I'm a stranger here. I'm the only one from out of town. And so that's when it really hit me that I'm on my own out here, and there's a high chance of danger. And I have blindly walked myself into a situation that is now severely difficult to get out of if I need to.
Wow. Were you talking to anyone about this? Did you tell your parents? Did you tell any friends? When you're going back to civilization, staying in this motel every night, are you talking?
Not civilization. I wouldn't say that. That town only has a couple of roads that are not residential. A couple. It's with mainly just one main strip that goes through the town. So even then, I only remember really coming back to town one time during the entire process of digging that hole. I was excited, it was sketchy at the time, but as soon as I had made it back to Redding and met up with my friends, we went and got some beers. We're sitting on my buddy's front porch of his apartment complex. And I'm so excited to tell him, dude, I've been doing this, it's crazy, no one tell us what to do. And as I'm going through it, I kind of look up at my friends' faces and they're like, you're not going back, right? And I'm like, yeah, I gotta be there by Monday. And they're like, maybe you stay. And I'm like, no, dude, we gotta be getting close to being done. And it's actually that moment is when I found out what at the time I believed was the motivation for the entire thing. The area I was at where that apartment complex was is directly next to the skate park in that town. And it's very low income, trashy apartments. Most of my buddies got there when they got out of high school after their first apartments and stuff. And I remember upstairs.
Well, what was in the hole?
That you went down in the hole?
Wasn't what I expected. I did not expect it to be that cold. By the time I went down there, it was pretty close to the end, probably the last month. I was surprised those guys could get those boulders out, carrying them on their shoulders, because you go stand next to a tree and you step down and walk across the top of the boulder. That'll work. That will work as long as it's inside of regulation. And the answer is, I just really don't know. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I am on board with doing these interviews and speaking to people about it. Because the world we live in, such done. He came across as a guy that was very fun. I had just my window down with my elbow on the window.
How many sheets of drywall would it take to stop a bullet? My name's Parker. Welcome back to EE Life. We take anything and everything, and we shoot it with guns, and we see what happens. We're going to start small with the 22, work our way all the way up to a 50 BMG, which is right there. It's a big boy. And we're going to see how many sheets it takes to stop each round. We've got 45 sheets of drywall in front of us here. The interior walls in your house are made up of drywall, 2 sheets per wall. So this should be a decent idea to see how walls in a house would react to different caliber guns. Maybe you've seen it in movies, maybe you've seen it in TV, where somebody will hide behind a wall and that wall will stop the bullet. So maybe today will give us a decent idea as to how much protection a wall in a house will. Let's see. Is this going to be enough to stop the 50 cal? Or will it be another bad week for Fred? I'm excited to find out. Let's see. We have Eagle 1, as usual, standing by, patrolling, getting us clearance, patrolling the skies. Yeah, I got you. Got you loud and clear. Yeah, we're about to shoot the 22.
Just a random plane, Parker.
Yep. I got you loud and clear, Zach, so doesn't believe me. Okay, starting out with our 22, as usual, shooting with our Ruger Mark IV. With the walls inside your house, stop a 22. I know there's no studs, there's no insulation in between our sheets of drywall, but it should still give us a pretty good idea. Here we go. All right. Was that Fred? I just heard Fred fall over back there. Okay, so I'm assuming it did not go through 45 sheets of drywall. Fred fell over. He's a little dramatic. Maybe he just got spooked, Zach.
He got scared?
Yeah. Went through 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bounced off the 5th, and I see our bullet right over there. Try to get a shot at that, Zach. Bounced off the 5th, and the bullet landed right there. 4 sheets clean. bounced off the 5th, so it's going to go through 2 walls at least. If you're talking about 2 sheets of drywall that make up an interior wall of a house, went through 1, 2, and then bounced off the 3rd. Fred, get up. Come on. All right, moving up to our 9mm, shooting our Glock 19. You guys know the drill. Every time I shoot the 9mm, I do a trick shot. I eject the round, try to get it to come back to the chamber.
We're doing this again.
I've never gotten it. Maybe today will be the day. Guess we're going to do it again, Zach. The people love it. We're going to do it till I get it.
So we're never going to stop doing it.
We're going to stop right now. Believe. So close.
It's always a little bit close, but it's just never good enough.
Yep. Here we go. 9mm against drywall. How many will it go through? Firing. You hear that?
Yeah, it's like a big plink.
Yeah, it was weird. Interesting noise, lots of dust. Entered here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Still going. 13. I see our bullet right over there. So it went clean through 13 sheets of drywall, bounced off the 14th, and then there's our bullet right there. Interior walls are doing nothing. Zach, this is our second gun, and we're talking about 13 sheets. That's 6 interior walls.
There we go.
All right, here we go. You rolling?
I'm rolling.
Did you press the red button?
That's why I said here we go.
Moving up to the 45 ACP. Could this make it further than the 9mm? Find out. What do you think? 10 sheets? And oh, there. Shared it. Bigger entry. Nice big entry here. 45 ACP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was our exit right there. So it made it clean through 12, bounced off the 13. Extremely similar to the 9mm, but it did make it 1 less sheet than the 9mm.
Looking for the bullet?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
That is a wood chip.
All right, so this is our 44 Magnum, so we're shooting next. And Zach, this particular 44 Magnum paired with this drywall is reminding me exactly of the situation that happened in 2009. I'm in a Home Depot in Alaska, just outside of Anchorage, little suburb called Ontarionto.
Ontarionto.
Yeah. Walk in, I see a bear. He's actually broken into a pallet of white monsters. Manager slides me this 44 Magnum. The bear is drinking white monster. Yeah, but he's not like angry. He's just wired at this point. He's completely locked in. So I grab a white monster. We need to lure him out. Throw it. He sees me throw it. He locks in, and then I shoot it with the 44 Magnum. Explodes. Bear runs out. I save this door.
You lured a bear out of Home Depot with
Yeah.
a white monster.
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy.
Sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty made up as well.
What's that? Here we go. All right.
Spark magical moments, one card at a time. Disney Solitaire. Play now.
Tired of your cracked, ugly driveway? We have the perfect solution for you. Revaflex is a heavy-duty rubber non-slip surface that covers up damage, supports vehicle weight, and flexes so it never cracks. Unlike rigid epoxy that snaps, our surface expands and contracts with the weather, so it will never crack, peel, or delaminate. We install it right over your existing concrete in just 1 day. It cures in just 24 to 48 hours.
Oh
It
my
is backed by a
goodness, bro.
limited lifetime warranty. That's part right now.
It
Get
is off the
60%
chain, bro.
off installation. If you're interested and want some more information, click the link below and we'll reach out to you.
Yep. You have what?
I know he's going to chance to try to challenge him, not laughing at this one because this got me. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. Be out. Be out.
So you
You
can't laugh?
can't laugh. You can't make a sound.
Sound.
You get scared.
So you gotta try to move your hand, or you gotta
No,
take
you can't
it.
move your hand. You gotta take it. Oh. Watch. Watch.
Oh
So
my
you
God!
don't know who's
Look,
gonna slap.
that's oh,
He made a sound.
oh my God! Oh my God!
That's three left. Where he come from? I thought he was
Look,
out.
they are out.
No.
Using them as support. Mm. Oh my God. Why was that so freaking funny? Everybody call him,
Put that in the group
everybody
chat.
call him the little Kevin Hart.
Yeah, put that in the group chat. Put that in the group chat. Oh man. Alright.
So, you killed Rykard. I harbor you no ill will. The strong take. Such is our code. Even he was prepared to meet a wretched end when he first took blasphemy unto his very flesh. But any road, the Volcano Manor is no more, though we may yet fulfill an old promise. We hunted our own kind, and took what was theirs. And with everything in hand, the time has come to rise against the Erd Tree. O greater will, hear my voice. I am the recusant Bernal, inheritor of my brother's will, and you will fall to my blade. We refuse to become your pawns. Consider this fair warning. O greater will, I am the recusant Bernal, inheritor of my brother's will, and you will fall to my blade. We refuse to become your pawn. O greater will, I am the we refuse.
2016.